The Broncos snapped their 3-game winning streak, losing to the Chargers 23-16. Also losing Pat Surtain, who is in concussion protocol. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. But welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. Matthew Peterson here with a quarter of my voice. I just came back from Tennessee for Tennessee, Florida, so I do apologize for the hoarse voice. But let's talk about this loss. I don't think the score accurately reflects how much of this game went. I mean, for a third straight home game, Denver came out sleepwalking. Go back to their first home game. They go down against the Steelers 13-0 pretty quickly. Then even quicker against the Raiders, they fall behind 10-0. And then today, they fall behind 23-0 for pretty much 3 quarters and change until a late rally, which was fun to watch because it did give us some good Bo Nix moments. It showed some fight in this team, but let's be honest, this was an ass-kicking for much of the game. The Chargers whomped on the Broncos on both sides of the football so bad that you don't even really know where you want to begin to dissect the issues first. And the bigger problem is they don't have a whole lot of time to do that because Denver plays on Thursday Night Football in a few days in New Orleans with Sean Payton returning back to the Big Easy. Bo Nix had a really slow start to the game, a tough first interception on a tip pass that that made its way to the hands of a defender. Overall, 19 for 33, 216 yards. I want to say like 80% of this came in the last 10 minutes, which, listen, on one hand, it is nice to see this team really start to show some fight and never, quit, and some resiliency. But on the other hand, can they not wait until an hour into the game to show up and play? Because it's starting to become a bad habit of theirs. And while they sit at 3-3, they're not damned for this, but they are missing out on some home opportunities and are now 1-2, and it's not going to be any easier on the road. The ground game completely evaporated. Javonte Williams went back to old Javonte Williams to open up the year. 6 carries, 23 yards. He lost a fumble as well. We saw a little bit of the rookie out of Notre Dame. So we're seeing a little bit of a lot of rookies, actually. Troy Franklin, he had a touchdown grab. It was kind of a cool Oregon center to Oregon quarterback to Oregon wide receiver. So neat for Franklin, but we're not here for handouts. We're here for some consistent offense, which was non-existent for pretty much the entire game until the fourth quarter. And on one hand, you got to look at the scoreboard and go, that kind of tells you, I wouldn't say the entire story, but that was the final score. The Broncos at least gave themselves a chance at the end. But man, falling behind 23-0 and needing a Will Lutz onside kick just to give yourself a shot to tie the game, that's not going to cut it for the rest of the year. Now, the defense is no better, and they're going to get an ass chewing next too. Unfortunately, the bigger story on that side of the football is Patrick Surtain. He went down very early in the game. Second snap on defense, I think it was, working on Ladd McConkey, the rookie from Georgia. He's in concussion protocol. Denver, like I said, plays on Thursday night. I'd put it at a near 0% chance that he plays on Thursday. I mean, when you're in concussion protocol, it doesn't necessarily mean for sure that you have a concussion, but that you may have symptoms, and they're going to do all the preliminary tests and things like that. But I would put it at a long shot that we see Surtain play on Thursday night, which this defense completely crumbled without PS2. Justin Herbert was working with plumbers and electricians this game, and they worked Denver's defense. So no PS2 surge like they had last week with a 100-yard pick six, and it showed. And this defense can't be overly reliant where if PS2 is not even on the field, they all forget what to do. So who do you think the biggest loser was coming out of this game? For me, I'd probably just say the entire defense. I mean, they had played really well, and it's a week-to-week league, and it's tough to stay consistent on every single part of the football, but the entire defense just crumbling to the Chargers offense. 350 yards, 222 through the air. J.K. Dobbins was running all over this defense. No takeaways, and it really shows. And then the time of possession. I mean, at one point, the Chargers had a 19-play drive. Thankfully, we got a Nick Bonito sack to keep the sack streak going for himself. But yeah, the Denver defense was just MIA. The offense, you have a rookie quarterback, so I'm going to give him a longer leash, but they were just MIA for the first 15, 30, 45, about 50 minutes of the game, right into about the 10-minute mark of the fourth quarter, and you just can't put yourself in a position to erase a 23-point deficit. They made a good attempt at it, and it was somewhat fun to watch that, but at the end of the day, this offense and defense had both systems failures, and this is the result you get. So, we have more to share on this game in just a moment, but I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor today, which is Game Time. If you are wanting to go catch a Broncos game or an Avs game or a Nuggets game, go visit Game Time right now because they have an awesome deal called Game Time Picks, which makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. That way, you don't have to sit through all the fluff. They're going to sort it out so you don't have to waste hours searching for great tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Let's do a deep dive on the Broncos offense because Bo Nix was sleepwalking for much of the game. I do feel like there are one too many passes where sure you have your misses, and that's going to happen to all quarterbacks and especially to rookies, and that I'm not going to lose too much sleep over. I think with time that will improve. But I also think there are one too many passes where Nix does not allow his receivers to maximize yards after the catch because the ball isn't put in a spot where they can pluck it and turn upfield. And that has to be something that gets zeroed in on and improved because Nix has a great job at extending plays with his legs. He showed that in the fourth quarter. But overall, the inconsistency at times can be frustrating. But what's really starting to creep up on my nerves is just the passes that aren't put in positions where the receivers can then turn upfield and turn what maybe a 6 or 7 yard gain into a 10 or 11 yard gain. So that has to be something the coaching staff really focuses in on this week going into New Orleans, who, by the way, just got worked themselves. So if you think it's bad in Denver right now after this loss, the Saints just gave up a 50-burger to Baker and the Bucs. They don't have Derek Carr. He's out right now with an oblique injury. Not sure if we'll see him on a short week, so it might be the rookie Spencer Rattler in a rookie v. rookie showdown, first one of the year for Denver. Cortland Sutton continues to lead the NFL in incredible touchdowns that have the longest reviews. He had one last year on Buffalo, remember? He always has a touchdown every single season, where it's like a 5-minute review, and it really could go either way. It looked like a touchdown to me, and I'm glad it was ruled a touchdown as well. But Sutton, he continues to make some really incredible plays in the red zone, especially in the end zone for his quarterback. It was nice to see Troy Franklin get going a little bit because this entire rookie class is really starting to step into a larger role. Jaleel McLaughlin, him and Javonte Williams just completely regressed from what we saw over the last couple of weeks. The offensive line didn't have their best day. I don't think anyone really had their best day. You can't even get like a Will Lutz onside kick to stay in bounds for the most part. Meanwhile, Justin Herbert, coming off a bye, you knew this Chargers team was going to be well rested. Kind of a scary-ish situation. Jim Harbaugh, if you guys didn't notice it or catch it, missed the opening part of the game. He had a heart issue, so DC Jesse Minter filled in as head coach, and then Harbaugh joined them later on. So hopefully Harbaugh is okay. But Dobbins, 25 carries, 96 yards, a touchdown. I'm sorry about the voice again. I was at Neyland Stadium rooting on my Volunteers, and it is showing right now. So bear with me here. We'll be all better for tomorrow. But overall, my impressions from this game, if you didn't get to catch it or didn't get to catch much of it, are A, if you told your spouse, your significant other, your girlfriend that we can go apple picking on Sunday, this was not a bad Sunday to do that because much of this game was an absolute stinker They were very close to having their first home shutout ever, 23-0 into the fourth quarter. But a late rally has showed this group is resilient. This group has the ability to make some big plays when they need to. They just need to stop sleepwalking so much early on and put themselves in a hole they cannot recover from. So hopefully PS2 does not miss too much time, because he is definitely one of the biggest storylines right now in concussion protocol. The guy feels just invincible. And when one of those invincible players goes down, like Aiden Hutchinson for the Lions today, it really kind of shocks you to your core, going, you know what? We think they're immortal, but they are mortal. So hopefully PS2 is okay and we'll get him back as soon as possible. Now, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because if we get more updates and whatnot, we're going to keep you informed here. So hit that sub button down below. We're going to have a big week coming up, Thursday Night Football against the Saints. We'll have a watch party for that game. So go ahead and subscribe right now so you don't miss a single thing for your Denver Broncos.